was so sad.
Right? Like Nick Foles was about to do it again.
Yeah,
And then Alshon Jeffrey's like, nah, not today. You're getting traded.
All
You're
right.
going to the Jags.
was so bad. He was the hero and the GOAT. Like they wouldn't have done anything without him. He was killing it, but
Yeah.
the worst
Like
timing.
he was gonna make like an actual argument for keeping him around and doing something with Wentz, and then nah, Alshon. Alshon said no. You can go to Jacksonville.
All right, stop
Have fun.
talking. Save your talking for like 5 more seconds. All right. We're going live in 3, 2, 1, 0. Welcome back to 32 and Goal. This is episode 16. We're going to be talking about the conference championships, the games between the Rams and the Saints and the Patriots and the Chiefs. Before we get started, is there anything you guys want to talk about last week? I know you guys were just talking about the whole Alshon Jeffrey situation. Go for it. Now continue your conversation.
It was just super sad. Like, I mean, they were going to. It felt like they were going to score. That they were doing well that drive. They hadn't done well in multiple drives since then, but they were on their way. The ball just went right through his hands.
Right through his hands, dude. It's not even like it wasn't even like a bad pass. It was a great pass by Foles. Just right through his hands.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and look, you could just feel the whole NFL like community, aside from the Saints, was going for him in that moment. Like everybody wanted to see the Eagles win, except for the rest of the NFC East. But
I mean, I could care less.
It's sad. Yeah, like Ryan said.
The what?
See, we just wanted to see the underdog win. I mean, I picked the Saints. I like watching them, but watching Big Dick Nick just take down Big Team.
Yeah, it gets crazy, dude. But
watch
where's he gonna be next year? You guys think he's gonna sign for somebody? He has to, right?
Yeah. The Eagles have already said they're probably gonna let him go. So Jacksonville, I'm sure, is gonna be going for him.
You don't think he's? I think they should keep him and trade Wentz, but whatever.
I do not.
That's a terrible idea.
Dude, if I was Wentz, I would have asked to be traded after the whole back situation like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I mean, like, trade me off this team right now. I don't want to play with you guys anymore. You guys just jeopardize my future, risk my back. Like, fuck you guys. I want to play with you guys. But I guess Wentz is a better man than I am, so I'd have been long gone. Unless, of course, it was the Detroit Lions. I would have stayed with them. But yeah, so that was one of the big games. The rest were kind of pretty predictable. We all had the Colts winning. We all had the Colts beating the Chiefs. I don't know what any of us were thinking. Man, they did not even like.
We thought their offensive line was really good, and the Chiefs' defense was really bad.
But then
the Chiefs, the only thing that they do well, which is pass rush, was way better than the Colts' offensive line.
Dude. It was insane.
Yeah, it was.
They were getting manhandled out there.
And then the offense just looked, aside from the offensive line, the whole offense in general just was lackluster. Like, they were just dropping passes, they couldn't get the ball go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then Mahomes just treated it like a regular season game and then just balled out.
What were you saying, Robbie?
I think they had like 4 straight 3-and-outs, I remember, and they didn't even get a first down until the second quarter.
Yeah,
Vinatieri missed 2 kicks. It's just like it really wasn't.
Yeah, it was not the Colts game. The football god said no.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Luck only threw 19 for 36 though too, so it looks like Andrew Luck said no as well.
Yeah, he said no to my fantasy team as well for DraftKings.
Fuck your fantasy team, dude.
Yeah, he must have been like one of the highest picked of the weekend. You'd imagine just the stats would have been coming. The Colts even though they got out this year, I think they got farther than they expected, and their entire starting offensive line are guys they just drafted last year, except one guy. They just have to re-sign one right guard, and they have so much cap space that they could legitimately bring in Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell if they wanted to. So the Colts will be fine.
Yeah, the Colts are definitely going to be formidable next year. They had the highest rookie snap percentage of anyone in the league this year. So
yeah, they're a young team.
Yeah, and Andrew Luck has obviously shown that injury, the 2 years he took off, isn't going to hold him back. He's here to reclaim his former greatness.
You guys think he's going to be in the league for a while?
Do you remember at the beginning of this year they were talking about Andrew Luck can't throw the deep ball?
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't do all the throws. That was a big story. That was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months later. Now we're talking about him as comeback player of the year and MVP. He looks great. I don't know where all that came from or where it went, but it was completely stupid.
And a lot of people forget that they're also on a first-year coach who they didn't have until, a few weeks, before the season or whatever, because Daniels completely screwed him over.
Yeah. He screwed himself. That would have been a great opportunity.
Yeah. So, their coach, obviously, he's won that locker room. He owns it. And, yeah, they're going to be good next year.
Yeah, speaking of good teams next year, I think Phillip Rivers down in San Diego is going to have a pretty solid team for the next couple of years as well. But, they didn't put up a good performance last week against the Patriots.
That was ugly.
That was another team or another game that was just completely one-dimensional. It seemed like Phillip Rivers and this Chargers offense couldn't get this ball rolling at all. I think they had a bunch of 3-and-outs early in the game as well. It was just hard to watch almost, man.
Yeah, they look like garbage.
They did look like garbage, dude. That's like pretty much all you can say about this game. Chargers look garbage. Yeah. Patriots did all right.
Patriots could have picked them apart even worse. I mean,
I think
they just didn't have enough weapons. Like Chris Hogan wasn't making catches. If somebody in Chris Hogan's spot was a little bit better, they would have scored even easier. I don't know what happened to the Chargers defense.
I think Robbie turned off this game. He was just so bored watching it.
Yeah. Second quarter, I just turned it off. I was so disappointed in the Chargers.
How many of us had the Chargers to win? Just me.
I think it was just you. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Well, there you go. Don't listen to
I was saying, we said we wanted them to win, but it's Tom Brady and Foxborough. It's really hard to go against that.
It is really
especially for an LA team.
But, man, I don't know, man. I think, overall these playoffs have been kind of boring. But I think this weekend is going to be a good weekend for this.
No, that Saints Eagles game weirdly I think that was supposed to be the blowout in our minds, but turned into the best game of the playoffs so far. That almost made the entire weekend for me. I love that game.
Yeah, I mean, the team I had the upset was the Colts. I thought the Colts will have the best chance at an upset, and then the Chargers next, and Eagles are at the very bottom of that list. And
right.
Yeah, I think
they had the best chance.
All four of us picked the Colts to win, like I was saying earlier, man. But dude,
they just both AFC away teams did not show up.
I feel like I also haven't learned my lesson on betting against Mahomes and this Chiefs team yet, because every other week I'm like, yeah, they're probably gonna lose this week, and they just blow them out.
I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and then I still picked against them. It's just.
You think it's gonna stop, but it doesn't. I don't understand. You think that they're gonna stop somewhere. Someone's gonna stop them, but Mahomes and that whole team just rallies and just surprises you and plays great ball.
I mean, the team that can stop them, they're playing this week. But before we talk about the Patriots-Chiefs game, let's talk a little bit about the Rams-Saints game. Rams going down to New Orleans, take on the Saints. What are your thoughts, Robbie? Go.
I think it'll be a rematch of the last game. Same kind of score too. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to have to be. You're going to have to put up points against these defenses. The Saints' defense was didn't really show up in the first couple quarters there in the Eagles game, but they made some huge adjustments to stop the Eagles and everything. So they're gonna have to adjust, I think, for this Rams offense. But also with the Rams are gonna have to show up too to stop Drew Brees and these guys. But I think they're beatable, to be honest. The Eagles were literally just a drop away from probably winning that game. I think this will be a really good game. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping too. You look at both of these offenses, and they're both very, very electric. I think the 4 teams left are the 4 highest scoring offenses. Is that true? I don't know.
Yes, it's the first time in the Super Bowl era that's actually happened.
So yeah, this weekend, Super Bowl weekend, we're about to see some high numbers, I think. None of these teams, besides the Rams, really have an outstanding defense. The Saints have a pretty solid defense, don't get me wrong. But the Chiefs, their defense straight up sucks. And the Patriots, we say it sucks, but then they just completely destroy the Colts. But
I'm going to say the Patriots defense is the best one left, and I think they're actually good.
You think the Patriots defense is better than the Rams defense?
Performance-wise, yeah. I think they have less. I think they fuck up less.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, you look at this Los Angeles Rams team, and you look at their defense, and, like, almost anybody who casually watches football can tell you who, some of these names on this team are. Like,
they're all household names.
Donald.
Peters, Talib, Sue, Donald.
They have Talib back this week. They didn't have him against the Saints the first time they played him, but they have Talib back. It's going to be a game changer, but these guys should be stopping the run, and they just can't. So I'm thinking we're going to see a big game from Alvin Kamara this weekend. But I don't know.
That is how you attack the Rams. Their linebackers, I mean, their front line's really good. Their corners are experienced. I mean, you might as well use one of your best weapons at the weaker point of their defense.
Oh man, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think both games are gonna be pretty good. Drew Brees has a case for MVP. It's probably going to Mahomes. But if Mahomes wasn't playing, I think Drew Brees would easily get it this season. It just seems like every year there's someone who does it a little bit better than Drew Brees. So sucks to suck, but what can you do besides throw better?
Well, I think this game is actually, I think it'll be a good game, but I think a lot of this game is going to be between possession. These two teams are going to want to try to keep it away from the other. And because the Rams defense, like we've already touched, that's very weak at the linebacker position. And you mentioned that Talib is actually going to be playing this week. The Rams, the 8 games Talib missed this season, the Rams allowed 300 yards passing on him. For their defense. And then the games with Talib, it was reduced down to 215 yards per game. So Talib does make a big difference in that passing game. And if you look at the Saints receiving core outside of Michael Thomas, they don't really have anybody. I mean, Ted Ginn is not that great. Smith's all right, but, still young. And then they have really no tight ends to speak of. Obviously they got Kamara who can catch the ball, and that's one of their strong suits. But so I think this game is going to be a lot between the running backs, between Gurley taking on Kamara, Ingram, and Taysom Hill.
I don't know, man. I think, I called last week. I said I think Taysom Hill was going to get his first passing touchdown of the season, and he did. But, got called back. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that trickery play, coming out of this offense, the Saints offense. They get really tricky, like doing some weird voodoo shit during the playoffs. And I think we're going to see a little bit more. I think we're going to see Taysom Hill starting a little bit more these next couple games because it kind of throws offenses or defenses on their feet. They don't really know what to do. You assume he's going to run it. But then you look at how beautiful he threw that ball last week that would have been a touchdown. You're like, can this guy throw as well? Like, can this guy throw the ball as well as Drew Brees? No. But can he throw it enough to, make it so we can't just stack the box every time we see him in? I don't know. So I think what we're going to see is some weird creative shit going on this weekend in this game particularly. The next game I think is just going to be kind of a shootout, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some weird tricky shit going on.
I like that it was mentioned, that slow the game down, or both teams are going to try to slow the game down so that the other team them, because I think both teams want to be able to run the ball. So yeah, I think more of a slugfest, but obviously it could easily turn into.
Yeah, both teams do want to run the ball. It's gonna feel like. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Your mic was going out, so I couldn't really hear you. But both teams are also very capable of running the ball. So
yeah, and that's the thing is C.J. Anderson has been running really well as well. I think that's a lot to do with the fact that when he's in there, they're probably expecting a pass more, so they're not really stacking the box like they would for Gurley.
Right.
But and if you're the Rams, obviously your number one thing is to keep the ball out of Drew Brees' hand. And Goff hasn't really been the same since the shootout with Kansas City in the bye week. He hasn't played as well as he did previous to that. So Gurley is definitely probably who they're going to be riding more, or C.J. Anderson as well, to try to win this game and keep the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. Yeah. You can't get the ball in his hands with a few minutes to go.
I was looking at some stats a couple weeks ago, and one of them was the Saints were averaging like 3.5 yards per drive. That means they were scoring a touchdown or kicking a field goal every single drive. And it's like, that's something you can't really beat a team when you allow them to do that. But Robbie, is there any thoughts? Because you're kind of silent over there, bud.
Oh, I kind of listening to you guys' opinions, man. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Actually, the C.J. Anderson thing is very interesting. I think this guy has been teams these last few years and everything, hasn't really found that solid team to give him the ball. And now that the Rams have kind of an explosive backfield with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson, who looked great last week. It's almost the same as, I would say, the Saints backfield. Kamara is comparable to Gurley, and I think C.J. Anderson is just a little heavier set than but that's a 1-2 punch on each side for the running. But to these defenses, man, to stop these offenses, because we know what both offenses are capable of. I think I give the slight advantage to the Saints just because it's at home. That stadium's gonna be loud. It's gonna be, it's a championship game, the first championship game ever, I think, for the Saints at home. So Saints, I think this is Drew Brees' year. I'm gonna pick the Saints in this one.
The Saints, huh? Interesting. I got the I got the Rams winning. Simply because, Tyler already pointed out that Ted Ginn is not necessarily the best second wide receiver a team can have. And because of that, we also are seeing the return of Talib, unlike last time. So hold on.
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't matter if Ted Ginn isn't the number 2 or the best 2 receiver in the league. He just has to be open.
Right.
He just needs to run the route. He doesn't have to be a number 2 guy that everyone talks about. He just needs to be open or in his spot, and Brees will give him the ball.
Yeah, Brees is obviously capable of making any receiver, that next level. But like what I was saying was, like, we're gonna see Talib pretty much one-on-one all day against. So we're gonna have to see other guys step up. And if you're gonna have to be that position to step up, if you're, Jin, even Kamara making some receiving plays, or Smith or their tight end Watson, we're gonna see they're gonna have to step up. And I guess if they're going to have to step up, in New Orleans during the playoffs, it's probably the best opportunity. You pretty much got the whole fandom there, so I don't know. Tyler, who do you got winning?
This one's tough. I mean, Drew Brees always seems to play at another level when he's at home. That's kind of his thing. But I mean, the Rams, they're used to playing away and playing at stadiums that are not loud for them. But
Right.
I got to go with the Saints on this one. Just when you compare position by position, Saints have the more dominant areas. You know, Michael Thomas is better than any of the Rams receivers. Gurley has the Saints running back speed, but Drew Brees is definitely outclassed. So I'm going Saints on this one.
Ryan?
Yeah, I'm picking the Saints too. I don't think Jared Goff goes in the Superdome and stands under the pressure that the Saints can bring and picks them apart. And I'm pretty sure their defensive coordinator would be smart enough to know that's challenge the Rams.
All right, so got 1 vote Rams, 3 votes Saints. Next game is a rematch between the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. This time it's going to be an Arrowhead. Begin conversation about this. Go.
Well, I think the big story for the weekend is the age difference between all the games, right? Between the quarterbacks. Tom Brady is 18 years older than Patrick Mahomes, and Drew Brees is 15 years older than Jared Goff. So it is kind of like the young guys versus the old guys here, and it's almost like if these young guys win, it's kind of like that next chapter, right? Like these guys are league. I want to see the young guys win. I picked the Saints for the last game and everything, but I want to see these young guys beat these old guys, man. Bring in a new era. I'm a big fan of Drew Brees, but I just want to see some new guys come up and rise in the ranks and everything. But for this game, it's going to be about, I think, just discipline. I think the Patriots are one of the most disciplined teams in the league. You know, they don't give up too many penalties. And the Chiefs are kind of a young team. They have the advantage there, obviously, with the crowd noise. I'm going to make a prediction that they are going to break their season record crowd noise level. This game is going to be loud, I imagine.
I mean, I'd be loud too. They haven't had anything to cheer about in forever. Now they got the championship game, at home in red. So you got
against the Patriots.
Against the Patriots, the villains of the NFL. So are you picking the Patriots to win then?
Oh man. I don't want to.
So Patriot is, dude. Patriots.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. They're the underdog in this game. They really shouldn't be. We know who the Patriots are, who they've been for the last 10 years.
20 years almost.
And past 8 years now or something like that? It's been, this is it. This is the year, the downfall of the Patriots. And they always win. I mean, they came out last week and kicked the Chargers' ass. It wasn't even competitive. That final score of that game was not as close as it should have been. And the thing is, man, it's like the Patriots kind of went under the radar all year, and they didn't really do much, and they got a first-round bye still. And now they're in the championship game for what? Is it the 8th straight year?
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can pick against these guys. I want to see them lose. I don't want to see another Patriots Super Bowl, but it's Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick. This is the greatest team we will probably ever witness in our lifetime. And
in any sport, really.
Seriously, the domination of this team is we're all tired of it. I understand, but it's something that we kind of take for granted, man. What these guys have done for the past is just.
I don't think we. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I don't think we take it for granted. I think we're just kind of sick of it. I think it's like when your mother force feeds you vegetables when you don't want to eat them. You're like, yeah, they're probably good for us, and it's probably good for the ratings, but man, I don't want to fucking watch the Patriots anymore.
I think we slightly do take it for granted. You don't have to love it, but like we it's hard not to take it for granted when you're a prisoner of the moment. We like once we look back at this, we'll say like, wow, we watched them do that consistently for that long. No one's ever going to do that again. You know, like the NFL is not built for that. The NFL is built for teams like the Eagles being easily one of the best teams in the NFL and then falling off sharply the next year, and some other team's going to fly up just because of the like minutia of like 53 guys on a roster. You know, you just change one unit and your team like goes one way or the other. There's so much parity in the NFL, but they're able to do this consistently. And you said discipline earlier. I said they fuck up less. Discipline's the word for it. They're a well-coached team. Like they take guys from all over the place and they just always have a consistently elite team.
You know, I'm not going to disagree with all that, but I feel like, you know, if the Patriots weren't there for the last 8 years, the Steelers would have been. So, I mean, it could have just easily been another team in their place.
Well, I don't think that's true either, because there's these teams they had to go through. You know, there's been the Ravens, there's been the Steelers, the Broncos were good with Peyton Manning, the Colts were good with Peyton Manning. There were other AFC teams during this time that they had to beat. Phillip Rivers was around this whole time as well. They had to go through some teams. It's just that, I mean, Belichick's one of the best coaches ever. Brady's maybe the best quarterback ever.
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, what the thing is, man, is like, you know, these guys, it's going to be cold probably for this game. It's going to be loud, but up to Patrick Mahomes to not give the ball away. It's going to be up to the Chiefs to not fumble at all. You know, the turnover is going to be key in this game. Mahomes needs to go out there like the MVP is and win this. If he wants to prove he's the next guy up. So I want the Chiefs to win. I really, really do. But I'm picking the Patriots, and I hope I'm wrong.
I could tell you a stat that would back that up. The Brady and Belichick, they're 10-0 against first-year starting quarterbacks in the playoffs. When it's their first year starting and they go to the playoffs, they're 10-0 against them in their in their time together. So Mahomes would be the one to that.
I mean, it has to end
but the
somewhere,
Patriots, right? They haven't faced someone like Mahomes. I'm sure. You know, if you looked at that list, this is the MVP. I mean, it's his first year starting, but he's going to be the MVP.
Yeah, we saw these two match up earlier in the season as well, and it was a pretty close game. The Patriots ended up winning, you know, only by 3 though. But the Chiefs also had, you know, Hunt at the time, and now they have to rely on the running game from Damian Williams.
Damian Williams has been really good.
Yeah, he's not bad, right? Awesome. He's not bad. So, you know, I was going to get to that. I think he's more than capable of doing the same thing, you know. When the Lions beat the Patriots and when the Jags beat the Patriots, both defenses did similar things, and that was attacking Tom Brady from the sides of the pocket rather than the front. And it's something I was watching. I was watching some videos on the same thing. And, you know, not a lot of teams were attacking Brady from those sides. He has such good, you know, he's been in the league for longer than a lot of people watching this game have even been alive. And, you know, like you said, he was 18. He was smoking Marlboro Reds when Mahomes was born, you know. So he was signed up for the draft when Mahomes was born. So he's had this experience of looking at, you know, people trying to kill him for the last 18 years or whatever. And so I think a big part of that is his peripheral vision's just top notch. He knows when people are coming. He knows, you know, he's able to see that stuff. And I think, you know, the way to beat Brady is you got to attack him from the sides, man. And, you know, no person would know that more than, you know, the head coach of the Lions, Matt Patricia. But I think, you know, if you're going to look at some tapes, you got to kind of realize that. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, the Chiefs don't necessarily have the best defense. So, I don't know, man. This game could go either way. I actually have, you know, the Chiefs winning, but because they're an Arrowhead, like Robbie said, I think it's going to be a loud game. man, I don't know. I want to see Mahomes do it, man. I don't know. I just want to see Mahomes beat him.
I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, but I'm gonna be way more optimistic about this than you are. I think yes, the Patriots, they're a dynasty, they're great and everything, but they're going on the road. They haven't been that great on the road during their entire run. They haven't won a road playoff game. Maybe they always get the top seed, so they don't really play in them. But they haven't won one in like 10 years on the road. When they played the Chiefs earlier this year, their defense was way worse. They had injuries all over the place. And since we saw their pass rush last week. That was because their pass rushers are healthy now. They had Justin Houston, Chris Jones, and Dee Ford all miss games this year. But when they were all together, week 10 and on, they were like top 5 in every defensive category. Takeaways, sacks, forced fumbles. The interior pass rushers in the league. And I know you're saying that they've got to come from the collapse the pocket from the side against Brady, but from just history of me watching them, the teams that I've seen that take Brady down, like the Giants when they were able to do it in Super Bowls, and the Eagles, it's the interior pass rush. Guys like Brandon Graham coming inside and collapsing the pocket that way. I think just in general, collapsing the pocket against Brady is the only way you're going to stop him. Too many teams, they don't rush enough guys at him. They try to pull back a lot of guys in coverage so he has nowhere to throw, but you're giving him all this time to throw. NFL receivers are going to get open. And I think that's where the Chiefs were succeeding last week in throwing the Colts off their rhythm. The Colts had one drive where they were able to get things going when they were playing that no huddle. And I think it's because the Chiefs were kind of on their heels. But when they gave him time to settle down and get to Luck, he couldn't do anything all game. And I think they have to do something similar to Brady. Like you're saying, the noise at Arrowhead is ridiculous. That's only going to help their defense. I think that the Patriots are going up against a totally different team than they saw earlier this year when they were at home, and I'm picking Chiefs.
Yo,
I'm pretty confident in it.
To add to you, I'm looking at the Patriots' losses this season. It looks like all 4 of their losses that I'm seeing have come on the road. So 5. They lost to the Steelers on the road. They lost to the Titans on the road. They lost to the Lions, the Jags on the road.
They give up a ton of points on the road. I don't know their exact rankings, but I know that they had like a huge contrast in the points they give up at home versus on the road. They turn into one of the worst defenses when they go on the road.
Yeah, that's crazy. Speaking of the pocket, though, if I'm on the Patriots team, I'm keeping Mahomes inside the pocket. I don't even care about collapsing this pocket. I just want to keep him inside that pocket so he's not doing his weird little run to the right shit where everyone just scrambles and you got Tyreek Hill running 100 miles per hour faster than everybody else in the field. You have to keep Mahomes inside the pocket. There's a very few quarterbacks that are as deadly as that on the outside. Aaron Rodgers is probably the deadliest, but you got to keep him inside this pocket, man. And I don't think there's anyone on. There's no one on the Patriots team that can keep up with Tyreek Hill. There's probably no one in the NFL that can keep up with Tyreek Hill.
Stephon Gilmore was a Pro Bowl corner this year. He was a shutdown corner this year. He's a press coverage corner. He tries to get you with his hands at the line. And the best wide receiver against press coverage this year was Tyreek Hill. So.
Yeah, so we're going to see Tyreek Hill just blowing motherfuckers out this weekend. You can't really, I saw a quote from Belichick that was like, how are you going to coach against Tyreek Hill? And he's like, you want me to coach someone to run as fast as Tyreek Hill or whatever? Like, I'm misquoting the hell out of that, but, that's basically it, So I think Belichick's going to have some shit up his sleeve to kind of contain him. Because that's him and Kelsey are who I'm worried about on this Chiefs offense.
The add to that is so Kelsey usually lines up in the slot because the Chiefs don't really have a slot receiver. The last time the Chiefs played the Patriots, Tyreek Hill, I think he lines up in the slot like about 30% of the time. As soon as they played the Patriots, he lined up in the slot 50% of the time. And the slot is where the Patriots are weakest in coverage. So you got Kelsey on one side of the slot, and across the field, you got Tyreek Hill moving around in the slot. Someone's going to get open. And not to mention, Sammy Watkins is now healthy. He played pretty well last week. So you got him to worry about as well.
Yeah. Last time they played, I was looking at some stats. Last time they played, Tyreek Hill had 142 yards with only 7 receptions. 7 receptions, 142 yards. That's 20 yards. 20 yards per catch.
They shut down Kelsey, but they could not contain Hill. I remember watching Hill just get monster catches.
Yeah, and that game could have been easily won by the Chiefs. There was a few plays they were lackluster in the first half. And there was a few plays where they should have scored that got away from them, just small mistakes. But, that was near the beginning of the season. It's the playoffs now. These guys have tightened it up. Mahomes has more experience. He already has a playoff game under his belt. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's ready to go. Damian Williams can be comparable to Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt put up 2 200-yard receiving games the last 2 times they played the Patriots. So he's going to – the Chiefs have the weapons to beat the Patriots. And I'm agreeing with you guys. But where they're at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City is going to be rocking this weekend. They're going to win. The game's actually – I just looked at the weather. It looks like it's going to be around high 20s, mid to high 20s, low 30s this weekend. So it's not going to be completely cold and freezing. So it's going to be a great game.
I mean, that's perfect temperature for those Boston Patriots, though.
Yeah, but at first everybody thought it was going to be. Yeah, everybody thought it was going to be like 5 degrees, -10. Like that was the initial report this week, but now it's a little bit warmer, so that just it's both teams are going to be great.
Also, there's going to be an eclipse. And it's going to boost Tom Brady's powers. So
that's true.
So you got the Patriots winning or the Chiefs winning, Tyler?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. So we got 2 Rams or 2 Chiefs. I don't know why I said Rams. 2 Chiefs. No, 3 Chiefs, 1 Patriot. Interesting. So we got the Rams Chiefs Super Bowl. Rob got the Saints Patriots. Tyler got the Saints Chiefs. And Ryan's got the Saints Chiefs. Tyler and Ryan have also not predicted a single game that wasn't the same as each other's this entire playoff. So there's that. So you guys are pulling from the same sources, obviously.
Our minds?
Our genius. Yeah, I was gonna say our genius mind.
Our genius minds.
I think this Saints and Chiefs that's who I thought was gonna make hoped and thought were gonna make the Super Bowl from the beginning.
Is that who you picked when we did that episode a couple weeks ago? Was the Saints Chiefs?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
It was kind of a chalk pick, but it's just what the Patriots were the only team that I could maybe sway a different way. But yeah, I didn't think the Bears or Rams were going to take out the Saints. They'd have to go to them and beat them.
Yeah, I mean, Bears had a shot, right? But, you miss a field goal. Yeah, you don't have a shot anymore.
Count double doink.
I had the Chiefs and the Bears, and Robbie had the Patriots and the Bears. I think. Does that sound right?
The Patriots and Bears?
Yeah, what did I say?
That sounds awful.
That's a terrible Super. But is there anything else you guys want to add before we end the show?
I'm hoping that I was really excited for these playoffs, and overall I've been disappointed, but I'm hoping this weekend makes up for it.
Yeah, same here. I think we were all hyped up on these playoffs, thought they were going to be the best in a while, but it's kind of the
turns
first,
out to the Patriots
number 1 and number 2 seeds always make it. There's no point of having wild card weekend almost. So, but
well, it's a very pessimistic thing to say, man.
Well, hey.
Nick Foles did try. He tried his best to he tried to ruin it, or make it better. However you want to look at it.
I know we've talked about it, but there hasn't been a team that's won an away game in the playoff making it to the Super Bowl since the 49ers and the Ravens Super Bowl. So we're going on 4 or 5 years of it's all been 1 or number 2 seeds that have all had home games making it to the Super Bowl.
That was 2014, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, man.
And that makes it interesting. I mean, the Patriots, even though they're technical underdogs, it doesn't feel like they ever should be underdogs, but they kind of are. I mean, recent history is against them. Yeah, they're gonna have to go to Arrowhead. I think they're gonna make that a game. Both of these games should be really good. Like, we distilled the playoffs down to the most interesting teams that we've had this year. The best coach teams, just intriguing. Like, they have to be good games.
Oh, for sure. And this is the year to beat the Patriots. Going into next year, they got, I think, 12 draft picks, 6 of them in the first 3 rounds. So they're going to reload. They're going to be back next year. So come on, Chiefs. We're rooting for you.
I'm predicting Gronkowski is going to announce his retirement within the week after they lose. That's my prediction.
And then a week after that, him and The Rock are going to announce their first collaboration movie.
That'd be awful. I don't want to watch Gronkowski and Rock jump from burning towers together.
I don't feel like Gronk would be a good actor. I don't think he would be.
Oh.
I think he's got that like have you ever seen his commercials?
Yeah, it's awkward, dude.
I'm reading a script type like way of talking. Like, it's terrible.
Which NFL player would you want to see in a movie?
Kermit the Frog.
Mahomes? You want to watch Mahomes?
Hey, here's my ketchup steak.
He'd be a good voice actor.
Mahomes Muppet Island, dude. I'd watch.
I mean, I think Antonio Brown would be pretty entertaining in a movie.
I mean, he's pretty entertaining.
If he was playing
in the locker
himself, maybe.
He's in his own movie right now.
This is a reality show.
Fighting movie?
weren't the entire Green Bay Packers in a Pitch Perfect movie?
Yeah, they sang.
Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah, it was Pitch Perfect 2,
It
man.
wasn't the entire team. It was only like 5 of them. Get it right.
One of them was
I
Detroit Lions
I
All-Star
saw it.
TJ Lang.
It was led by Clay Matthews.
Yeah.
TJ Lang was in
on
it.
that
Antonio Brown was in that. I don't know if you guys heard of that show called The Masked Singer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Antonio Brown
So
was
was
one
Terry
of them.
Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Like another Steeler. Yeah, another Steeler, which is weird.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but Terry Bradshaw didn't have a football game he was supposed to be at while he was doing that.
I don't know if you guys remember Calvin Johnson, but he's going to be on Big Brother.
He was
It's
on
really
Dancing with the
weird.
Stars.
He was on Dancing with the Stars. He did pretty well. You know, it's crazy that he did so well shaking his hips when he retired because of a hip injury. Weird.
He retired because he got sick of the Lions, let's be honest.
I mean, I haven't retired yet.
That's really what it was.
Fine, did it again.
He's come out and pretty much blatantly said.
He blamed the organization, not the... And it was... They kind of fucked him at the end anyway, so I don't really blame him for that.
They definitely did.
So it was like what you did, like what you said Wentz should have did. That's what Calvin Johnson did.
Dude, Wentz... man. Like, I could care less about the politics of... I could care less about the politics of the Eagles locker room. It makes for great ratings, but we don't have viewers to really care about that. So, like, I just don't understand why you would work for a company who fucked your back up, lied to you about it, and watched you play for 3 more weeks, man.
$3 million, $10 million. Want me to go higher?
Yeah, but $3 million, $10 million. Then you got to rely on Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
Yeah, exactly. It's the perfect plan, man. Play at the beginning of the season, get hurt, watch Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. You get a ring. Collect on your money.
I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate from this. I don't think Carson Wentz is that great anymore, man. I don't know. I didn't think he had a good season.
I think it's still out on him and Goff. I mean, we're still seeing like their rookie season. They were both pretty bad. Last year, they were both really well. Wentz was possibly an MVP season before he got hurt. But this year, they're both kind of regressed a little bit. But so, I mean,
the crazy thing is,
you can't say Jared Goff regressed. You can't say Jared Goff regressed.
I was gonna say Jared Goff had just as many I think he had stats comparable to Drew Brees. I think it's just he gets overshadowed.
Okay.
He gets overshadowed by his team.
Yeah. Okay. Jared Goff has regressed since the bye week. Let me clarify.
Okay,
Since
but
the
he's
bye week.
It's hard to judge him. He's a system quarterback. Whether whether you appreciate that or not, he runs the system well. But he's not a guy he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not out there making things happen.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they're both still good quarterbacks. I just know if they're going like either one's going to be like that great quarterback, that we're talking about for the next 10 years. Like if they're good, they could be like I don't even know who to compare them to. A shed under
Flacco or somebody. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
I think Carson like Wentz I think his upside's more than that. If you watching some of the plays, he was Mahomes before Mahomes had this year to show us that. Like he was making some crazy scramble strong arm plays. People were going nuts over Wentz. I think if his athleticism's still there.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, man.
2 seasons of injuries.
I think maybe I think he was just a little hyped up last year. There was people talking in like the first 5-6 games of his season last year that in a couple years we're gonna be comparing him to the best quarterbacks of all time. And it's like, then he plays another year. I don't blame him for being a little scared at the beginning of the season. You come back from a season-ending injury, you're gonna play a little scared. Look at Watson down in Texans did the same thing. And I don't know. I just he's good. He's a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback even. I would say top 10 in his worst games. But I don't know. I think he was just a little hyped up by the media last year.
Well, I mean, we're really spoiled in the early to mid 2000s. And, I mean, you look at, if you go back, since Brady and Manning and all them came into the league, you would rank the top 5 quarterbacks each season. 3 to 4 of them don't change, until like Rodgers and Luck come into the league. But for the most part, it stayed the same. But then in the past 2-3 years, we're finally getting some fresh quarterback talent. Last year's rookie draft class is looking well. This year's rookie draft class, I mean, they surprised me how many actually played and how well they all did. Then, 2 years ago, you had Wentz and Goff are still, like you said, they're good, possibly great. So I think we're finally starting to see some fresh QB talent that could, definitely revitalize this league.
I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks around the league, there's probably a handful that are not good. I think we're living in an era where we're seeing the best quarterbacks of all time just playing against each other week in and week out.
In the best environment, set up for them to succeed. I mean, you can't manhandle receivers and you can't touch quarterbacks. So their stats are getting crazy. I mean, you've got even the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. He had great stats this year, and he had no one to throw to.
Yeah, you look at any one of these quarterbacks. If you take them back 20 years and put them in, you'd still be talking about them. You know what I'm saying? You'd be
I would say they're talented. They're better prepared than in the past.
Even Titty Kissing Trubisky, you'd be like, man, you guys remember Trubisky from 1980? He's so fucking good.
But they wouldn't be throwing for 4,000 yards and everything. It's just it's easier today to do. It's just easier to do it today.
I mean, Brett Favre and Peyton Manning pretty much did it.
But those are 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm saying that Josh Allen isn't as good as Brett Favre.
I don't think anyone's saying that.
I know. I'm just saying their stats are inflated. Their stats, everyone's stats look better today than the guys who played before. It's just the game's geared towards it.
You think
we're probably honestly just within 5 years away, if not sooner, of having a 6,000-yard passing year for someone.
I would not be surprised.
I mean, if anyone's doing that, it's Mahomes, right?
If their defense gets worse, he might have to.
It's going to be like a Manning when he took the Denver to that Super Bowl against the Seahawks that one, putting up 60 but letting up 50.
I went over to Robbie's house to watch that game. We ate 30 Jell-O shots each.
First half,
dude, it was bad.
That was that.
We were taking a shot. Training. What were we doing? We were taking a shot every time someone scored.
Happened, I think.
Every time something crazy happened, And like within the first 2 plays, like Peyton Manning fumbled the ball. I'm like, oh shit, dude, we're gonna get fucking wasted. And lo and behold, we did. So anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up today. It's already been an hour, so thank you guys for coming out. We got a couple more episodes like this, and then we're gonna be switching to a full-on podcast. Hopefully put it on iTunes and Google Play. So we're gonna finish the season like this, take off like a week while I work on that, and then go to actual podcast formatting where you won't be able to just stare at my face the whole time. I originally set this up where I could do something where the screen to my right was gonna be showing different stuff. Never really got around to doing that. So we're gonna just switch it to regular podcast. I think the way this show works is going to work a lot better off the Twitch and off YouTube. We're gonna keep the YouTube channel, but it probably won't have any more podcasts. I'm gonna figure out something to do with that later. But if you guys are interested, make sure you guys follow. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter and next couple episodes. But until then, is there anything else you guys want to say?
Nah, just get ready for a good week of football.
Good week of football. Rob?
Paco.
You said go Lions go?
Go Paco.
You said go Lions go. Ryan? All right, man, Ryan doesn't have anything to say. Okay. Nice. So I will see you guys later. Peace out.